It is Monday, March 4th, and we are on technically the second day of this month, second trading day of this month. But you can see the first day of March traded higher, setting that all-time high. We are trading a little bit off the high right here around 33, so a little bit off that high, but still above the previous month's +4, which is where we want to watch that 5103.75, the previous month's close. Switching, and I guess one more thing you could take from here is that we are just one time framing up still for the 5th month in a row. On the weekly, you can see how we finished last week. We broke out to the high, and so definitely, and finished on a +4. So something we definitely want to watch is that 5146, the previous month's close. That is going to be our previous week's close, excuse me, the level where if we should stay below it, and we are trading below it now, but if we stay below it, there is increased odds for liquidation, and we definitely want to be a little bit cautious there. So definitely something just at least to stay aware of or pay attention to. And basically what this is showing us is that momentum came in, pushed the market higher, and if momentum is going to continue, they're going to continue to break that level. Now, we were kind of in a little bit of a 2-week balance, right, until that last day of the week last week where we broke out. And so we can kind of play balance rules on the weekly. It'll be a little bit easier on the daily to see, but you definitely want to be at least paying attention a bit here. We are still one time framing higher on the weekly, so if we're going to see any significant change or any change at all, the first place we'd see it was the daily, but for confirmation, we'd like to see it on the weekly, and we really haven't seen that on the weekly. And going back to the weekly real quick, in order to get that cessation of one time framing, you would have to look for the market to trade back below the 50.67. So still a pretty decent ways below the current price. Switching over to the daily, we're one time framing higher. As we can see here, big day on Friday. Market traded up, was it close to 2%, I think, or close to 1%, I think. Yeah, almost 1% higher on Friday, setting that new all-time high of 51.49. Breaking out of this balance here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 day balance, right? So that's kind of where we got that like 2 weeks of balance. And so we zoom out a little bit here, we can kind of see that we're getting these, you got this larger balance zone, get another balance, and then we get another balance, and then we get another balance as the market slowly starts to stair step higher up into that all-time high. So key this week will be, should the market get this continuation, hold above this previous week 6-day balance, or will it return into the balance and get a reversion? Let's jump over to the profiles, take a closer look at what happened on Friday, and then we'll jump into the plan for today. So as we can see on Friday, right, market opened up, popped up, B period opened up, gave us some single prints early on. C period came down, could not close those single prints, indicating that short inventory was still stuck, right? We had a 6-day balance where we kind of assumed that, and let's smash these together. We kind of assumed inventory moved back up, right? It was up early in the week, moved down, moved back up, and then you got this breakout. So the key today will be to monitor for this continuation. Are we going to see the market get continuation to the upside, or is the market going to fail and break down into balance? So definitely something that we have to kind of pay attention to. We did get a little bit of a pullback here, this E period pullback, right? You got that cessation of one time framing, a closure of single prints as longs got a little bit over excited, right? Momentum longs, as we assume this is mostly momentum here, pulled back, sellers still needed to cover, and the market traded higher. So, excuse me, putting in some Brad prints right here at the 51.30, and then we're below these ones now, but putting in some more single prints before narrowly almost closing them, I guess, towards the end of the day, but not all the way, and then finally settling up in this upper distribution. So really, and then we got that point of control at the end with a little bit of excess on the high. So as far as today goes, you've got some weak spots where you kind of assume that buyers are going to have, or sellers are going to have to come in and buy their positions back should they not be able to get the market lower. Morning, Dad. And so one thing we want to be paying attention to it, and a lot of times on a day like this, what I like to do, it makes it a little bit easier to play our value play, is like to come over to our profile and change it from 68 to 50. Okay, we got a really outsized day, and it brings our value area low up to this 51.28, which works out perfectly for these 51.30 single prints. And to me, if we break this 51.30 and look to trade lower, we'll look to trade back towards this pullback low. And let me go ahead and just use the arrows because it just makes it a lot cleaner. So this pullback low, which was like 51.18-ish, we'll look to trade past these single prints. Make this a different color, I guess. So this would basically be buying support. And then our move lower, should we get this break of these single prints, would really kind of trade us down into excess. And so I want you guys to kind of think about this in an interesting or in like a multifaceted way of where the market is one time framing higher, and then you get a cessation of one time framing, but that gives you excess, so causes a bit of a balance before continuing on the move up. So if this is a balance here, this 3 TPOs wide, and then we get this excess here, right? What can we infer from excess, right? Typically we can infer that excess is possibility to act as support, right? And so should this area act as support, we want to be careful of initiating short trades in this area. So this would be an area where we'd be looking to take profit, right? Not really looking to jump onto the short. Now, if the area doesn't find any support and there is a move lower, then we would be, really looking for it to fill these single prints and honestly trade back to that previous month of 51.0375. That would be kind of the move there if the market were to get some, and that's about 30 points here to the downside. But this area has to be a caution area, and like I said, the market is moving higher, right? For the most part, the market is just one time framing higher. It's been a strong market, so we've got to be cautious of any short trades, especially getting too attached to them. As we've seen, right? You get too attached to any short trades and it hasn't paid off very well because the market's been, every pullback's just been kind of bought up. Now, to the upside, should the market just not be able to break this 51.30, you want to be looking for it to reclaim this 40 to 44 level. And that would be kind of the area that I'd be looking for it to kind of hold. That's kind of up into this upper excess here, right? You kind of see this distribution and this excess. So I'll be kind of looking for it to pull out of this area and kind of set new all-time highs. Now, where to is kind of unknown. The caller trades up at 5,200, but really we're just looking for this previous high. So not a ton of juice on the upside. Try to trail it as much as you can. if we get a nice day like Friday, you can trail it up one time framing previous bar low, right? You get stopped out there, sets excess, get back in, start trailing up previous bar low, you get stopped out in J, or in L, excuse me. For the most part, a pretty decent opportunity. Now, there is some really opportunity for it to give you a bit of this inside here, even lower if there is this buyer that's kind of stuck down here in this 51.22, 51.18 area, right? You could see that kind of reversion back to the middle of the profile and back to this kind of value low. So definitely all kind of things you want to be paying attention to or being aware of at least. And what we'll do here is I'll show you what I'm, or at least make it a little bit more clear of how I'm talking about breaking down the profile as far as individually. So if we split the profile here, we kind of assume, right, 1, 2, 3, we're kind of one time framing higher, get a little bit of balance here, split the profile here, split the profile here. And so imagine these were all different days or different sessions, right? And so different days, different sessions, same idea, whatever you want to imagine. But you get this kind of excess on the low, the market trades higher, we put some single prints in, finishes on the high. This day is a balanced day with excess on the high and excess on the low, but the strong close on the high. This is excess on the high, excess on the low, strong close on the high. This day is more of a balanced day, but good excess on the low, not great excess on the high, 3 ticks there. So not great excess on the high, kind of indicating that buying might be drying up and it needs to test this lower excess, which, you know, in turn it did in the overnight session, and is now trading lower into this previous excess, right? And so you can kind of, you know, do this on your own, but just remember, excess is just such an important part of the market because it indicates action, right? It indicates either new initiation or old, you know, closing of a position, but it does indicate some type of action and can oftentimes give you those references that you're looking for in order to be able to make smart trading decisions. But other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure that you're managing risk and sticking to your trade plan, and I will see you guys tomorrow.